just like altering them in a lot of ways with like effects and cutting them up so that I can change the rhythm basically of everything to whatever rhythm I want. And then just like making some kind of loop with like a backbeat. That's kind of the idea. And so, I don't know, it's really different than classical music in most ways, I would say. In terms of similarities, I mean, I don't know. I mean, in terms of the tradition, I can't say there is that much similarity.
Has any one of you ever heard of him? I'll bet not, or at least only very few of you. See, Mahler isn't one of those big popular names like Beethoven or Gershwin or Ravel.
So I'm trying to make a beat that's like in basically metronomic time. So a lot of times I have to just go in, and if I'm trying to sample something that's like in 4/4, just make sure that like the beginning of each bar is where it's supposed to be rhythmically. So sometimes, you know, I'm basically like cutting up the sample that way, and then I change it. Like I might be like, oh, this chord should just come in 2 bars earlier and put it there instead. And then just a lot of effects, EQ. I'd say that the two like critical effects that I use in Logic Pro are EQ and compression. Very powerful. With EQ, basically you can take any sample and you can control which frequency ranges are heard the most and heard the least. So you can turn down every single frequency range or turn it down or up as you want. So you can hear just the bass part of the sample or just like the really high frequency like hiss. Or you can turn up like one pitch. You can turn up just the violins or something just using this one thing. There's that, and then use compression, which is much harder to explain. I don't really know. It's like a mystery to me. I don't even know how it works. But it makes things sound really good. Some beat makers are good, and some aren't that good. Some really rely on the samples. Because you can make beats that sound okay, or sound pretty good, just because the sample's good. You don't make beats well, but you know how to use the program. You're not that creative, but you use the sample. The sample is great, and so then the beat sounds pretty good. But like, that's never what I'm trying to go for. I'm always trying to inject my own personality, my own music into everything. So it's more about me in terms of my music, and in terms of the great producers who were role models. It's not the people who just took pre-existing samples that were good and made music that sounded okay out of it. It's the people who like made something that was completely their own, and like sort of almost a goal for me is to be able to sample any type of music and make a beat that sounds good. So it's not like I'm relying on the sample. I love challenging myself. Like for me, it's actually a challenge to sample Mahler because it's not something that I'm like directly into, and it's not something that strikes me right away as I want to make a beat with it. But it's about the challenge for me. So it's almost, if anything, it's harder for me to use Mahler than if I was going to use something else, but I can still make it work. And I guess that's sort of the point. What's up? It's KGB. I made the Mahler meets KGB song that you're going to be hearing at the Mahler Remixed Concert. Come out. It's going to be great. You're not ready for this, because Mahler meets KGB, that's an explosive combination, so come hear it.